You haven't lived my life. You haven't seen my eyes. You haven't been in my eyes.
My name is TrustMeLucien. I'm a sample maker from Sweden. I'm 19 years old, and yeah, I've been on Waves for about 2 years now. So it was bound to have a fucking interview coming up, so yeah.
I'm gonna assume that TrustMeLucien is not your government name. Tell me the truth.
When I was gonna switch from making beats to samples, I wanted a new name because my original name was just Oscar with an X instead of the A. So I was like, yeah, I gotta find like a cool ass name. So I Googled just like cool Spanish names. So I just found like Lucien or something like that. And the way that Trust Me came into it was basically the Lucien handle on Instagram wasn't available. So I had to put something ahead of that, like Lucien.wave or just something unique. And Trust Me is basically me promising myself that I'm going to get there one day.
What's your process like for starting a new idea?
For starting a new idea, I can find ideas really anywhere. Sometimes I just wake up with a melody in my head that I just record on voice notes and I just put it into FL Studio, and either I re-record it, or if I just want to sit down and like create ideas, I just pull up a random instrument, create like a cool chord progression and add some stuff above it. Something that I've been doing a little bit actually is just go around in my city and just look at like, if I find like a beautiful place, I usually get a lot of ideas from the way that it looks. If I go to like a beach or a mountain or something like that, I can just look out and think like, okay, yeah, what does this sound like, you know? It just really it gives me a lot of ideas, just being beautiful places, especially when I came here to Los Angeles to do this interview. I was like, yeah, I just want to go around the city and just explore for a couple of days, just see everything to get inspired, and yeah.
Did you find time to collect sounds here in LA?
Yeah, of course. You guys are gonna see as soon as I come back and sit down at my computer, I'm just gonna be cooking again.
How would you describe your sound?
I'm one of the few on the Waves platform that actually, I don't really have one specific sound for myself. I really try to go in and, let's say I want to create a Latin Bad Bunny sample pack. I go all in for that genre. I don't just go in and try to mix in so I have one sound for myself. I always try to get inspired by that one genre and go 100% that direction. Because if a Latin producer wants me to send stuff, then I have stuff like perfect for him. And then I go into all in on like each genre, so like drill, R&B, trap. I have really been able to create a lot of genres just by focusing on that genre 100% and not really trying to blend the sounds together. So I would say I'm one of the few on the website who's actually been able to kind of master like all genres almost. Of course, not all genres, but you know, most of them so far.
What do you think makes your samples stand out?
Sonically, I would say my samples differentiates a lot in the vocals that I add, because I have such a kind of raw and disgusting kind of vocal that I like to create. And the way that I make vocals is I don't really care if it's a little bit out of key when I record it, because I'm not a good singer. I haven't been taking any lessons or anything like that. I just sing my fucking heart out. And I think somehow, even if it's a little bit out of key or if it sounds kind of fake or false, they can hear the energy that I'm bringing into the sample with my voice, and that's what kind of gives it life. Instead of just having the perfect auto-tune, just fucking the robotic system. So I think that's what really gives it the energy in the samples that I create. And I do that for each one. I try to find some different life in each sample and kind of find that energy and bring it forward to life.
What would you say are your top 3 VSTs for production right now?
Number 1 is always going to be Scorch. I have been using that for about 1 year now. I always go to it for new ideas. So I always open up like a Scorch preset because they have a bunch of different combinations. So you have like a bass sound, a lead sound, and everything in just one plugin. Number 2, I would say Contact, definitely. And I think Contact is always going to be at least top 5 in every producer's catalog, you know? As long as you have the good banks, it's always going to be there, because people are always going to be creating new banks and new stuff and recording new sounds for it. So it's always that kind of plugin that kind of reinvents itself, kind of. And then the third one I would say is not even a VST, but one-shots, to be honest. Contact, Scorch, and then one-shots. I like AB's one-shot, Coupe de Truth, Nami, you know, all of the big ones. I go to one-shots a lot for starting ideas. And a fast way that I usually do it is I just pull up like a plucky one-shot, I add either a bunch of reverb or like portal on it, I reverse it, add some vocals, and then a bass, and that's basically a finished sample.
What is your go-to vocal chain?
My go-to vocal chain? So I have two different. For a choir and the lead vocal, it's different. So for the lead vocal, I usually have Fruity Limiter, just a noise gate, cut out all the background noise. And then I have a compression, heavy compression. After that, Sheps 73, cut some low end, put it in mono. After that, we have RVox. After that, we just have the creative delays, the reverbs, the extra stuff that you want to add on. And for choirs, it's basically the same thing, just with a little lighter compression and no noise gates.
Do you ever use hardware, or do you just use software exclusively, like for your VST sounds?
I don't know what hardware and software
Like
are.
a keyboard or like...
So a real keyboard?
Yeah.
What's that?
Like hardware would be this keyboard right here instead of like in the box.
I would say just go through the computer. It's the easier way because you don't need to have all of these things with you everywhere you go if you learn how to do it on the computer. So it's going to be much easier for you to cook up at any place at any given time. If you just have your laptop, you can cook up anything. So learn how to use just one thing and master that, and you're gonna be set.
Where do you find inspiration from?
Sometimes I just find inspiration and just randomly, it just comes to me. I usually just come up with the ideas on the spot. And sometimes if I, for example, just go some places, like I can just hear melody if I'm just out walking outside and I hear like 3 notes. And then my mind just goes into this like, okay, what if I take those 3 notes and make them super high quality? And I just record like a la la la, but I make it like super mixed and super like processed. And you know, I've been trying to kind of get the more simple ideas out instead of just adding a bunch of layers on top of each other. So ideas can just come to life just like that, like just with 3 notes. If I just walk outside and hear stuff.
If you're just sitting at home vibing, not even talk about making music, like, are you going to the classics? Are you going with mostly new music? What are some of the options you might go to?
It's different every week, I would say. So lately, I've been listening to a lot of Nina Simone, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, a lot of those types of artists, older jazz stuff. But then you can also find like the super hard, like drill rappers. As long as it has energy, I listen to it. I love it. So I can really listen to anything. Like in my playlist, there isn't just one genre at all. I have a bunch of different inspiration sources, if you can call it that.
Can you tell us some of the people you've been collabing with lately?
Q-Beats, Desirite, Coop the Truth, Jaron Sua. He's been downloading some of my stuff from the Waves website actually for a couple months. Actually for a long time. Beats by Cryptic, we got a bunch of people. And I'm just trying to like grow and get up there so everybody knows my name kinda.
Have you had the chance to collaborate with other sample makers on Waves?
I have 2 really big upcoming sample packs. One of them is with SmokeX. One of them is with Sam Brody. Sam Brody used to rule the Waves website a couple months ago, and the kits are getting finished slowly but surely. So you guys will have it in a little bit. But yeah.
Do you have a dream placement or an artist that you really want to work with right now?
Dream placement, of course, the big ones: Drake, Yeat, Travis Scott. You know, all of them bigger names. But other than that, I wouldn't really say that I'm chasing placements, really. I'm just trying to like build connections in the industry. Even if they aren't with the biggest names, I just like to have connections and just know people in the industry, because I feel like that's way easier to build off of. If you just know random people, just in different cities, different countries. Like I can go to Italy, stay there for a week. I don't have to pay for Airbnb or anything. I don't have to pay for anything just because I know them and just because they know me from before, from Waves. So I can just fly there, live at their house, make some samples, go home, explore. And I feel like that's really an important part in the business side that people don't really capitalize on, that I kind of noticed from an early point in my career, that if I really want to do this full time, I'm going to have to do the business side right from the beginning, and I can't just have the good samples. I need to know everybody. I need to be in specific rooms. I need to make the right connections to be able to get to where I want to be in the future. And making those connections early on really puts you in a place where you can easily build off of it.
So what's your future in music look like to you?
My future in music, I actually don't want to know what it looks like. not knowing it creates this kind of mystery behind it that, okay, where am I going now? Where am I going now? So it makes it much more interesting to me, not knowing anything or having that kind of, that dark path that you don't know where it's gonna take you, but you decide to go anyway, you know?
What would you say is your favorite thing about Waves?
It's so easy. It gives you so much exposure to everybody because everybody knows it. It's super easy to use, and it really just puts you in kind of a circle with producers who would not even know anything about you before. And you got some of the bigger producers, and they can just go on Waves and download your sample just like that. That's how I got in contact with Beats by Cryptic, Coup the Truth. Des Wright DM'd me out of nowhere, and he was like, yo, send me stuff for Kanye and Travis. And I was like, okay. So they all found me on Waves, and that's the best part, in my opinion, is the exposure really to like the bigger producers. You can be a nobody and post a kit. If it goes on the front page, you're set.
What would be your advice for up-and-coming sample makers?
Just make as many samples as you can. Even if you're not inspired in the beginning, the inspiration will come with time. Because when you get the quality down and you get the production side of things set, the inspiration for the actual samples will come. How my process is, I start 5 ideas and I just crank the ideas down, just lay them out, then come back the next day and I finish them all. So I don't just have projects just laying around, not finished. I don't have a folder of like throwaways. I don't have any of those. I always finish like all samples that I have. So I don't have anything just laying around. And if you really put your mind to it, if you don't like it, most of the ideas that I have, I don't like them from the beginning. But with time, I kind of pull the inspiration out of them just because I really want to finish the sample, and I don't allow myself to just throw the project away. And at the end, it really is some of the most popular samples I didn't even like from the beginning. For example, my one placement with Gonzi, it has almost 40 million streams now. I didn't even like the sample. I was this close to throwing it away, but I didn't let myself do that. I didn't throw it away, so that's how I got that placement. And yeah, just post everything you have. Don't throw anything away. That would be the best advice, I would say.
So when can we expect you to drop your next pack on Waves?
2 days after I'm home.
Yeah?
I already have one finished.
Damn.
And I'm making one with you guys, so 2 packs when I come home.
Yeah, and those ones are already sounding crazy, so thanks for coming out.